Hello, I'm Dr. Thomas Gloger and I will present you today something really new about Apilarnil or drone brood. So thank you for the organizers organizing this nice conference. First the disclaimer here, and then we go to drone cutting. Always when we talk about Apilarnil, we take about drone cutting, and I want to remember you one very important issue that here my friend Lutz Eggert, he's a queen breeder, makes the point. We must remove drones of inferior quality. Everywhere where you have drones, where you have hives with a lot of mites, then there you can cut the drones. But everywhere where you have good colonies, where you have really nice properties you want to bring into the next generation, leave them, the drones, because they are as important as the queens, says the queen breeder. So Apilarnil is, Apilarnil, here you see the drones which we use. Here our product after freeze drying. History goes back to here the freeze drying process, and this freeze drying process came really very popular during the race to the space. You see here Yuri Gagarin, and but the point is that the freeze drying is one of the good conservation methods, but the knowledge about Apilarnil, which is also called drone milk, is much older. You find a lot of things in Russian literature, and it's not only goes only back to this invention in quotation marks of Nikolai Iliezu. So when we look on the indications, then we have here depression, tiredness, lack of strength, chronic nervousness, epilepsy, menopause, menstrual disorders, puberty disorders, impotence, erection problems, diabetes, and in the end sports. So that are a lot of indications, and you ask me how can we see through this jungle. So let's look on the higher values. So we have here unclear causes, we have developmental disorders with children, we have typical women problems, we have typical man problems, impotence, erection problems, we have this problem with the fertility of men and women in those days anyway. So, and then we have that what we call metabolism problems. The question is, why does this material does all this kind of nice things? There are 4 operating principles in Apilarnil. First, we have the micronutrients and their composition. So there is a lot of essential amino acids, but when we talk today about proteins, it's stupid to talk about Apilarnil. It is the mixture in the right percentage. So the whole organism is made without rubbish. So the nature is very effective in this case. And so there are also other building blocks which we use for brain, for nerves, for muscles, and which are not only proteins. So then we have messenger substances and hormones. So general activation, the endocrine system is important. For the nerves, I already said that everything which has to do with the nerves and the brain. So also regulation of the liver. And then there is something complete new which we didn't know till now, and we found spermidin in Apilarnil. So spermidin is a biogenic amine, and it makes autophagy. Autophagy means that it simulates hunger to the body. So hunger means that the body gets alarmed and the body looks in every corner for rubbish, and the rubbish is then used and reused. So that cleans more or less the body, and this has then something like tumor suppression, immune modulation, cardioprotection, neuroprotection. So a lot of very positive effects. We will later come to this. And then we have the antiviral effect and the stimulation of the immune system. But come first to the hormones. The hormones is the management level of our body. So that's not the lower level. Our health system today works where you have a tiny bit of dripping somewhere, so a valve doesn't work, and then you start looking on the valve. Now you go on the top level and see why that is not working. So, and many of you who saw my all our presentations knew that I showed this here, the hormones in royal jelly and Apilarnil. And the solution was in front of my eyes for many years and I didn't see it. But I will show you. You see, the progesterone value is really high in Apilarnil. And why is this so important? So the importance of hormones I already explained. So there are two things happening in aging. We have less hormones at all, so we have to be simply the aging process. But the point is, so it's a little bit more complex. I show you the women's cyclus. So that's sometimes we have estrogen, sometimes we have the progesterone, and of course the well feeling is also dependent from this switching and the working of the switching. But in the old age, the hormones go down, but when the estrogen is too high and is not counteracted by the progesterone, so that's the important thing, then it disturbs this whole fine network of working. And it's in women and in men, it's more or less the same effect. So they gain weight, and it's an auto process because the belly fat after menopause in men and women is able to produce more estrogen, and there comes an estrogen dominance, and the estrogen dominance is then creating more and more other problems, and meaning the mood goes down, depression comes. So today's medicine says when a woman goes to after menopause to the endocrinologist, and they said, oh yeah, you have not enough estrogen, I give you more estrogen. So the problem is even increased. But there are luckily other endocrinologists, and you have to search on the web. There is very interesting literature about it. They say that has always been counteracted. So there is always, progesterone is always a counterpart of estrogen, and not the same level, but it must. So it's the level is dependent on the sex and the age and so on. But if this doesn't fit together, then it doesn't work. But Apilarnil contains as well estrogen as progesterone and is able to adjust that. So that's the important point. The next point is the Spermidin. So luckily we had here a very good cooperation with Westfälische Hochschule in Recklinghausen, here close to us. And they have a Malitov mass spectroscopy, and you see here the simplified process, how we found, how they analyzed the Apilarnil. So we found it, we knew, we got the hint, but we needed really the scientific background and in-depth understanding of the analytics. And you see this slide is weeks and months of work of several students and a professor, which came to this outcome. You see the green and the blue bars are different kind of standardizations, but in the end there is a slight increase of spermidin during the development, and later it goes slightly down. But in general we find a lot of spermidin. So to see how important Apilarnil is, you see kimchi is the top, sauerkraut already has much less, wheat germs is the star on the web when you look on Spermidin as a food supplement, soybeans, cheese and cheddar. So yeah, and Spermidin was found in sperma, so but the content there is much less. So it's really interesting how whatever 50 years ago without the Molotov people found it. But in the end we found much more in Apilarnil, and you see we have here fermentation processes and here we have stem cell formation processes, and this is important. As soon as this stem cell formation and creation of new life is involved, then there is a lot of Apilarnil, Spermidin is built and also needed. So, and when you look here on the Spermidin, there is really loads of functions, load of things. You see here, it's a lot of the scientific material which is derived is not here, it's only from humans, mostly from mice, from worms, from old mice, but it's here blood pressure goes down, heart failure goes down, and so on. So loads of positive effects. And the other thing which I wanted to highlight is the fact that Spermidin and a flavonoid, here in this case resveratrol, but it's probably also true for other flavonoids, has also some good synergy. So you see low doses do not work on here heart and muscle and liver cells. So of course high amounts of both work, but when here you work together with the low amounts, this 5 and not 50, here 2.5 instead of the 25, you see the synergy in heart cells, liver cells, and so on. So there's a really complex antagonistic network of enzymes which can be influenced. So you see here there are really dozens of genes which are influenced by Spermidin and the flavonoids and really change our life and increase our lifespan. So then we come back to these indications and we start understanding where it's coming from. I said here the menopause, hot flushes, this comes from the hormone content, this estrogen dominance, and you see already the limitation. If the estrogen dominance is really high, the Apilarnil doesn't work, or doesn't work enough, let's say. And the same is here, that what is more green, the metabolism, this area comes more from the Spermidin. And of course, yeah, we can do wonders in apitherapy, but we don't do it as often as Jesus. So we really have to see the limitations, that in some limitations we can do things, and if the disorders are too big, then this doesn't work anymore. So yeah, let's go back to the education of apitherapy. I wrote a book. You can see my online courses on an Austrian website, Imker AG, if you speak German. My personal favorite is go to PubMed, to the original publications. Look there, we have apitherapy, we have our own apitherapy day, and conferences like this will train you in the future. And yeah, I will send you my book if you write me an email. By the way, apitherapy cures all, but not everything. With say Chin, a Brazilian healer on apitherapy. So yeah, it has Apimondia gold medal. Here is my coordinates, and yeah, all the questions can come. You can send me by email. I'm really happy to answer them, as well as sending books or whatever. I hope there's a question session afterwards, and you can also ask there, but I don't know whether with the time difference I will be able to be present.